Welcome everybody to my channel. This is Mon, and in this video we will go over how to build the Reigning Cache. So starting with its weapon features, reloading triggers Fortress Warfare with a cooldown of 10 seconds. With that said, what is Fortress Warfare? Fortress Warfare is a continuous AoE buff, creating an area effect within a 2 meters radius by default that grants allies heavy armor and 20% weapon damage bonus for 5 seconds. Really quickly, heavy armor is pretty much stagger immunity. Now moving on to the next features, while in Fortress Warfare, attack plus 5% for every 0.5 seconds, effect can stack up to 8 times. After losing the Fortress Warfare effect, stacks are reduced at a rate of 1 per second. Then, while in Fortress Warfare, you gain 30% crit rate and 30% damage reduction. Now, all of these are massive stats, but unfortunately, they do not carry over, so you're going to have to use this gun as a main weapon. Also, apologies for not showing pro mode content. That would be because of, What the hell no! Yeah. But anyway, let's go over to the important weapon mechanic. So the first thing you'll notice with the Reigning Cache is that it shoots out its bullets in bursts of 2. So 1, 2, reload, 1, 2, reload, 1, 2, reload. However, an important mechanic you can do with this weapon, which also includes like all of the other weapons in the game, just it's way more noticeable on the slower fire rate ones, so the bingo as well with a fire rate of 40, is to input strafes while shooting. Don't hold down the key, just tap it. So if I show it with the bingo first, I can just do this, and I'll shoot pretty quickly, albeit you might be hearing me mashing my buttons. But yeah, you can do this with the bingo. And by inputting strafes, it effectively animation cancels your animation. And you can do the same with the Reigning Cache. So for instance here's just a really quick demonstration with the Reigning Cache. Now I'm going to spoil it a bit here because I'm doing, well, one of the playstyles that has to constantly reload. I would actually recommend you to only do forward strafes or backward strafes since it's just easier. Now, another mechanic with this gun is that it won't spawn Fortress Warfare until you've finished a full reload. So here, I'm at 1 bullets. If I just start reloading and I keep running, the Fortress Warfare isn't going to spawn until I finish the reload. And it's going to spawn under where I finished the reload, not like the moment I start reloading. Moving on to the accessories, run the tactical laser sight for increased accuracy, which helps the further an enemy is. And as for tactics, run the tactical rifle scope for increased range so that you lose less damage from damage fall off. Since all of the other options, you will, to the very least the legendary options, you will lose range. So that's going to make it so that you lose some damage multiplier and you'll gain stability, but it's not really hard to control this gun in my opinion, so I wouldn't really focus stability for this weapon. Moving on to the Cradle, you will want to run Anti-Void for the shotgun damage bonus, Tactical Combo for the weapon damage bonus, Deviation Master for the damage bonus against Great Ones and Elites, Steady Hands for the weak spot damage bonus, then you will want Bounty Hunter for the damage bonus against marked enemies, and you will also want Fortress Link for your Fortress Warfare buffs. Now, with that, it leaves you with 2 choices. So you could run any Cradle that would benefit your damage, such as Anti-Phase if you're using the Sniper, so the bingo, or just go with defensive Cradles such as Lone Walker and Deviant Energy Defense. Now, moving on to your secondary and melee options. So starting with the secondary, you can run the Wildfire or the bingo. Bingo can give up to 45% weak spot damage bonus and 15% attack, but it has a small magazine, so it's more suited in fights where you won't need to reload bingo and where the enemy has weak spots. If not, then you should run Wildfire for the bullseye mark spread effect and for the 25% weapon damage bonus. Then moving on to the melee option, it's going to be the Long Axe. And Long Axe can also activate Fortress Warfare, so you could use it if for some reason you just can't activate Fortress Warfare since it's on cooldown from your Reigning Cache and you're not in a Fortress Warfare state. And also here, the Fortress Warfare effect from the axe will trigger the reigning cache's features. So for instance here, if I take a look at the second feature, it's the attack stacking mechanic, plus 5% for every 0.5 seconds. If I activate the long axe Fortress Warfare and I swap to the reigning cache, you'll see that I am actually stacking that second feature up. Then as a small added bonus, for each target hit with a heavy attack, you'll gain plus 8% crit rate on all of your weapons, stacking up to 3 times. Moving on to the food buffs, starting with the food slot, you're going to want to run Mixed Fried Hot Dog for the 20% damage bonus against marked enemies. As a weaker alternative, you can always run Bone-In Deviated Sausage, but this would only be against bosses and it would give 15% instead of 20%. Now about Ginger Drop, which would be this one right here, used to increase your Fortress Warfare duration by 5 seconds. Now, you don't really need to run this, since without any mods, just the gun and Cradle, you are able to pretty much permanently remain in Fortress Warfare status anyway. If I demonstrated right here, so no need to run Ginger Drop. Besides, one of the Fortress Warfare mods won't be as good if you run Ginger Drop 2. Then for the drinks slot, there currently isn't any drink that will buff this weapon's damage, so feel free to run Stardust Raspberry Shaved Ice to increase your bullseye duration, or any movement drink of your choice. Now, before I move on to the gear sets, I would like to mention that if you enjoy my content, I would really appreciate a sub and a like on this video, as a lot of work goes into my content. With that said, let's move on to the gear sets. Now for the gear sets, this is a crit based weapon, so we're going to run 4-piece Lone Wolf with 1-piece Bastille. The 4-piece Lone Wolf will give 10% magazine capacity, up to 60% crit damage bonus, 5% perma crit rate with 8% crit rate for 2 seconds upon a manual reload. Then, the 1-piece Bastille will give conditional weapon damage, which this gun will benefit from too. So moving on to the key gear, here is where you'll make the decision on how to play this weapon. You've got 4 options. You've got the hard tactical boots, the cowboy boots, the leather boots, and the earthly boots. Now the last 3 that I've mentioned are all pretty much played and built the same unless you want to do some variations. But pretty much leather boots will give much less damage than the other 2 options, but you will gain more survivability. Then as for earthly versus cowboy, well, cowboy is better if you're playing solo, since Fortress Warfare will not only affect you if you have it on, but will give you better damage results than earthly as long as you stay inside of your Fortress Warfare circle. However, earthly boots gives a 30% damage bonus against marked enemies, so its buff isn't tied to being inside of a Fortress Warfare circle, nor does it make your Fortress Warfare only affect you. So you should use earthly if you clear content with other people, and if you tend to stay less inside your Fortress Warfare, which can depend on the content you're clearing. So say you're doing POI content, you're just running around and you're not sitting still. But pretty much for these 3 boots, you're going to run lightweight calibration since the gun reloads at an excruciatingly slow speed. And we're going to start with these 3 boots first. I'll talk about the hard tactical boots later. Now really quickly for the calibration substats, any crit calibration will work, but the specific substat slot, crit rate or crit damage, will depend on how much crit damage mods and substats you are running. So if you don't have a lot of crit damage rolls on your mods, you're going to want to prioritize crit damage in your calibration substats. And if you do have a lot of crit damage rolls on your mods, then you could go with crit rate. But here I'm going double crit rate because that's the only thing I have. And so now the way the weapon will be played with lightweight calibration is you'll be shooting in 1 to 2 bullet bursts. So what I specifically mean by 1 to 2 bullet bursts is if you only do 1 bullet burst, you're going to be doing this. And well, if you're not doing the 1 bullet bursts and if you want to like do the 2 bullet bursts, it's going to be looking like this. And with that, let's move on to the mods that match this playstyle, starting with the Substats priority, which will apply to any boots you wear. It's not going to make a difference for the suffix and substats. So starting with the gun and mask, which can contain keyword suffix mods, here being Fortress Warfare suffix. And here you should prioritize choosing Fortress Warfare over violent, as Fortress Warfare suffix bonuses scale higher than violent suffixes. Although, if you're just doing POI, you can run violent since you might just not stay in your Fortress Warfare state or circle. And so if we go with Fortress Warfare suffix, you're going to want, while in Fortress Warfare state, crit damage bonus, and as a general substat, you're going to want 2 damage bonuses against the type of enemy you're fighting, with roles prioritizing the main enemy type you will be fighting against. Then, for everything else, run violent suffix, with the link substat being weapon damage bonus, and with 2 damage bonuses versus X type of enemy, depending on the type of enemy you are fighting. Once again, prioritizing roles against the main enemy you want to get bonuses against. Moving on to mods, let's start with Caches mod. So here for Fortress Warfare weapon mods, you've got 3 options for this weapon. You have Final Territory, then you have Portable Territory, and you also have United We Stand. So starting with, actually I forgot to mention, here you also have Durable Territory, but we're not going to run this since if you read the effect, every hit landed while in Fortress Warfare state will extend the Fortress Warfare effect by 1 second up to 5 seconds. But even without any Fortress Warfare duration mod like this, your Fortress Warfare state's uptime will still pretty much be at near 100% anyway, so you don't really need to run this. And so with that, starting with Final Territory, if you're just running through stuff, not sitting in one place, you should run this. So the effect is when Fortress Warfare ends, weapon damage plus 10% and movement speed plus 10% for 10 seconds. The weapon damage is to help you, well, retain a small warmer version of Fortress Warfare, which doesn't give you the CC immunity, nor will it proc your mask mod if you're running a Fortress Warfare mask mod. And here it also gives movement speed to, well, obviously allow you to get to your next location quicker. Then with Portable Territory, it will remove the small inconvenience of losing the Fortress Warfare buff for like half a second when Fortress Warfare is buffering between the Gun's Fortress Warfare and the Cradle's Fortress Warfare. It also, more importantly, gives you flexibility to move around and leave your Fortress Warfare circle a bit, since after you leave Fortress Warfare, the status will remain for 2 seconds. Then lastly, with United We Stand, the more players inside Fortress Warfare, the greater the weapon damage bonus, up to 40%. Now, here, this 40% includes the base 20% from Fortress Warfare. So if we just go back to the Fortress Warfare keyword feature, you'll see that super armor with weapon damage plus 20%. United We Stand includes the 20%. So at most, what United We Stand will give you will be, here, 20%, since it's 20 plus 20. So here, giving a demonstration, I have no Cradle, since I'm in Eternaland. I have nothing up, no weapon damage bonus, other for the 3.2% given from the substat. And also, I have United We Stand. And so here, this effect, if I just use it alone, you'll see that here I will get 23% weapon damage bonus, which works since the default effect is 20%, and I also get the 3.2% added from the substats. So if I'm just alone, it's not going to give me any bonus from the more players inside Fortress Warfare, the greater the weapon damage bonus, whatever. And here, if I just use turrets, so one here, it'll simulate as a player. And now, if I reload Trigger Fortress Warfare, the turret is inside the thing, and I check the stats, I'm now at 43%. So what this means is that I myself will count only if there's another ally inside of my Fortress Warfare. And so here, this is 10% per, well, ally, including you, but only if you have another ally inside of your Fortress Warfare. And it's going to have its ceiling at 40%. So if okay, there's my deviation. If I just put another turret right here, you'll see that it's not going to get added to the count. So right here, I'm still sitting at 43%, not 53, not 63, and whatever. Now this effect will also count deviations. So here I have my gross room right here. If I just trigger Fortress Warfare, he's still inside. I check the stats. I'm at 43.2%. Now he's left, but if I just pick another one, let's say this Flame Essence. Okay, there's a lot here, but in any case, I'm still gonna be hitting the ceiling, which is 43.2%. And so with that, United We Stand would be the best option to squeeze out the most amount of damage. However, it's going to lock you in one place, so you have to stay inside of your Fortress Warfare circle, and you also have to at least have an ally with you to gain the 20% weapon damage bonus. Otherwise, you're effectively running a coreless mod with only substats. And so with that said, let's move on to the support weapon. So here, the Bullseye gun, you'd want a vulnerability amplifier on it. The Bullseye adds vulnerability plus 8%, so you're pretty much going to add another 8% vulnerability when triggering the Bullseye mark. Then for the Axe mod, it literally does not matter. You could even just run no mod on it, since the mod will never become active, as long as you're not holding the axe when the effect wants to come into play. Then, for the helmet mod, your two choices are going to be Fateful Strike and First Move Advantage. Now, Fateful Strike is essentially first move advantage since, well, these both effects, they all give crit rate and crit damage, but Fateful gives an extra 10% crit damage. However, you will lose all your weak spot damage multipliers, so it will only be better if you're not hitting weak spots. Then, as for First Move Advantage, it gives 10% crit rate and 20% crit damage permanently. And I say permanently because with this playstyle, with the 3 boots I've mentioned previously, you're reloading your gun every 2 seconds or less, so the buff will always be there anyway. Then moving on to the mask mod, here you have 2 options for Fortress Warfare mods. So if I just scroll down here, you've got the first one, which is Unbreakable, Fortress Warfare range minus 30%, while in Fortress Warfare state, attack plus 15%. So this just removes a bit of flexibility in your positioning since, well, the Fortress Warfare circle is going to be tighter. Then the other option would be Light Cannon, no super armor inside Fortress Warfare, while in Fortress Warfare state, attack plus 15%. And this pretty much means that you will lose the stagger immunity while in Fortress Warfare. You'll still keep the same Fortress Warfare circle like size, but you're not going to be stagger immune in it anymore. So this is really literally just pick your poison, and if you don't care about each disadvantages, then just pick the mod that has the better substats. Now here, you could go for the Bullseye mods, so Most Wanted, which is attack up to 15% and lasting for 8 seconds, or the other one, which would be Targeted Strike when hitting marked enemies, crit rate plus 10%, and crit damage plus 25%. But here, I'd only recommend you to run these 2 mods if you're not actively staying inside of your Fortress Warfare circle. Then moving on to Gloves mod, you're going to have 2 options. Here I have a purple mod right here to delete. So you have Crit Amplifier and Crit Boost. And here ideally you are going to run Crit Amp since the gun already has access to a lot of crit rate from the way you play it. So no need to use Crit Boost to get even more crit rate. And here with Crit Amp you get 15% crit damage. But Substats can change the choice between the 2, so Crit Boost and Crit Amp. So feel free to run Crit Boost if you have a better Crit Boost. Moving on to the Boots mod, just run Covered Advance as it either gives more buffs or is less conditional than all of your other options. This is 20% melee weapon and status damage bonus for 30 seconds, which lasts a long time. And the condition is just to only take no damage for 4 seconds. Now moving on to the top mod, you've got 2 options. You have Munitions Amplifier and you have Crit Damage Enhancement. And here the choice will depend on your crit damage versus your weapon damage ratio. Whichever stat you have less, you take the mod that gives it. Now for the Pants mod, you actually have 2 choices here. You have Deadshot and you have 3 strikes. Starting with Deadshot, it is stacking crit damage up to 45%, lasting until a reload. Now this thing interacts interestingly with, well, the raining cash, as the effect isn't removed upon a simple reload. So pretty much what I want to say here is the crit damage buff is only removed after a full reload. So this means that as long as you don't reload to max bullet cap, you are fine, and you will stack this up to 45% and keep benefiting from it until you do a full reload. However, it'll require you some time to stack up. So if I show you how to use this mod right here, I have 3 strike skip. I'll equip Deadshot. I'm removing everything. I don't have anything else up except within the Deadshot mod. No Cradle, since I'm in Eternaland. So here I'm sitting at a base crit damage value of 40%. If I just... maybe I should wear something to give me some crit rate for the 2-piece effect. So if I just shoot without reloading, now I'm at 75% crit damage. I'm at 2 bullets. Let's say I just reload up, like once I reach 7 bullets. 1, 2, 3. Now I shoot. I check back my stats. I'm still at 75. And so I can keep shooting. And then I'll keep stacking up the thing up to 85. I forgot my initial value, but I'm stacking it fully. And so here, without ever fully reloading the gun, I'm sitting at 85%. However, if I do a full reload now, and then I check the stat, I just lost my crit rate, my crit damage. So with this gun, you can't just like sit at max ammo capacity and just do this, since every time you are reloading back to your max cap value. So what you have to do is you actually have to at least spend like 1 extra ammo, and then from here on out, start doing the trick. So pretty much you can't ever hit max capacity with this mod. Otherwise, you're playing once again with a coreless mod. Then the other choice would be 3 strikes. So for the first 3 hits after reloading, not exceeding 50% of magazine capacity, weak spot damage plus 50%. The reason this can be used is since its effect is 50% weak spot damage bonus after reload, you can just infinitely benefit from it. Since, well, here, the trick with this weapon is just you shoot, reload, shoot, reload, shoot, reload. However, the caveat is that if you use this mod, you have to hit weak spots, obviously, since the buff is 50% weak spot damage bonus, which is a lot. However, you are no longer allowed to shoot in 2 bullet bursts unless if you just do a full reload. So with Deadshot, right, what you could do is just say I spend 2 bullets here, I shoot, reload, shoot, shoot, reload, shoot, shoot, reload, shoot, shoot, reload, shoot, shoot, reload. But here with the 3 strikes mod, you're no longer allowed to do that, since this requires you to do a full reload. So you're always restricted to doing pretty much 1 bullet bursts. And so were I to demonstrate this mod, here I'm sitting at a base value of 75% weak spot damage bonus, here being added by the 50%. So I, like, by default, I'm at 25, but with the mod, I'm at 75%. And so should I hit an enemy 3 times, you'll see that I actually lose the buff. I'm back at 25. And so let's just say that I expand my magazine, whatever. I'm at 3 bullets in my mag. I check my stats. I'm at 25.4% weak spot damage bonus. I just do like a quick reload and then I shoot. I haven't reloaded to its mag capacity, but you'll see that it's not back to 75% since I didn't do a full reload. So this just proves that, you know, I have to do a full reload, and then if I check my stats, I'll have the 3 strikes buff. However, because it's like a buff that's up 100% of the time, and like you have it at max percentage, since, well, Deadshot, you need to stack it. This is instantaneously 50% weak spot damage bonus. This will be better than Deadshot in scenarios where you consistently hit weak spots, since this mod gives weak spot damage bonus. Otherwise, just run Deadshot by making sure that you never hit the max ammo cap. So it's kind of funny, with Deadshot, never reach it, and then with 3 strikes, you always have to reach it. Now, with all that said, I hope it wasn't too confusing, but if it is, well, feel free to just run it back since this is a video. But let's move over to the other playstyle involving the hard tactical boots, or in this UI, written as tactical combat boots. This playstyle pretty much removes the need to reload by yourself. So pretty much here, all you need to do with this is you do a manual, okay, I'm on lightweight style, but anyway, you just do a manual reload, and then with these boots, it'll just keep filling up your ammo. And so all you have to do is you reload, and then you just start shooting. No need to reload, no nothing, you just start shooting just like this. Of course, like if you want to mark the enemy, feel free to like mark and then do whatever you want to do. But with this, you'll use the rapid shot style calibration. Obviously here I'm on lightweight style, but I can't find one. But anyway, you get the point. You use rapid shot style calibration, and you have to keep a tab on your Fortress Warfare duration, since, well, you can't just be shooting infinitely, since at some point, even after the Cradle's Fortress Warfare, it's gonna run out. So, and you don't want to like be stuck at like 3 ammo, since reloading this weapon with like without the lightweight calibration, if I can just find one, rapid shot style. So I'm reloading at an excruciatingly slow speed. So just don't get caught with your pants down, and keep a tab in your mind that, oh, my Fortress Warfare, I'm at 8 seconds. I should actually start doing a manual reload now. And here, if you haven't watched the part of the video where I talk about the first playstyle, I would recommend you to do so heavily, since almost everything is going to be the same thing, but for what I'm about to say next. So with this playstyle, literally with the helmet mod, you can't run first move advantage, since you're not going to be perma reloading, so you're not going to gain the 10% crit rate and the 20% crit damage as often. So you're going to have to stick still with the fatal strike. But here you are allowed to use precise strike as well as in first move advantage alternative. But this again, this is like you're going to have to be hitting weak spots. Then for the pants mod, you can no longer run 3 strikes, as tactical combat boots reload does not count as a legitimate reload. So if I just run this real quick, let me equip it 3 strikes. Let's say I do an actual reload. My weak spot damage bonus is sitting at 70%. And so if I just deplete the ammo right here, and now I just do a quick reload without fully reloading. So I reload like 1 bullet and I shoot. Now I have this thing, my boots are refilling my bullets into my mag. I'm at 13, and you'll see that I am not back at 70%, I'm still sitting at 20%. So the hard tactical boots reload mechanic does not count as a manual reload. Well, obviously, doesn't count as a legitimate reload for this mod. And so since it doesn't count as a legitimate reload, you're free to run Deadshot, and you don't need to like really worry about Deadshot hitting the plateau. So you don't really need to worry about Deadshot fulfilling your entire magazine, since, well, it's not a manual, it's not a legitimate reload. So you'll see that here I'm at 119 crit damage with no mod, no Cradle, no nothing. Well, no mod, no mod on a lot of things, with only Deadshot and with only the calibration. And so with that, this marks the end of this guide. Hopefully you liked it. If you enjoyed, let me know in the comment and tell me what you'd like to see next. See ya!